Very good evening, the esteemed faculty for today, CA Dipendra Agrawal from Delhi, Chairman Ahmedabad branch, CA Harit Dhariwal, coordinators for today's session, CA Kaushal Shah, CA Manisha Ji, senior members and my dear friends. Welcome to day 12 of this beautiful FEMA series. The faculty is here. Let's start the session with ICI motto. I request everyone to place right hand on your heart for ICI motto.
य एष सुप्तेषु जाग्रति य एष सुप्तेषु जाग्रति कामं 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 कामपुरुषो पुरुषो निर्मिमाणः निर्मिमाणः तदेव शुक्रं तद्ब्रह्मा तद्ब्रह्मा तदेवामृतमुच्यते तस्मिन् लोकः शतः सर्वे तदूनात्यपि कश्चन एतद्द्वैता 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 एतद्द्वैता.
Welcome back. I would request Chairman to share a few words with us.
Yeah, thank you, Anjali Ben. Respected faculty for today's session, CA Dipendra Agrawal ji, the Secretary of the branch, CA Anjali Choksi, the coordinators Manisha Ben, Kaushal, and all the participants. A very good evening to all of you, and welcome to this very interesting session on ECB today. And I'm sure everybody is waiting to listen to Dipendra sir. I'm just going to share a few updates now. Tomorrow, as I said, we have a session on this this cryptocurrency and on the analyzing the annual report. So that is again a virtual program. Tomorrow there is no FEMA series. Tomorrow, the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there is no session on FEMA. So you can join us for the virtual session on cryptocurrency and analyzing the audit reports. Again, my specific emphasis on the session on the 11th of December, wherein we are having this masterclass with Economic Times and on negotiation and drafting. Very few seats left, and we are not going to share the recording. In fact, it is by the ET masterclass, so we are not going to share the recording. So please attend it live. And a very, very interesting visit to the Amul Dairy also Anjali Ben has organized with the female members and the kids, which is on the 11th of this month. And yes, very, very interesting. As I said yesterday, a session on the economic laws. On 18th of this month, Saturday, 3 to 7, we have a session on the Benami law, PMLA, Black Money Act, and also the interplay with income tax. That will be the WRC. So all these sessions are there. Do take part in that. I would now request Manisha Ben to take the session forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman, sir. So the honorable speaker for today's session, CA Dipendra Agrawal ji.
Namaste.
The chairman of the Ahmedabad branch, CA Harit Dhariwal. The secretary of the Ahmedabad branch, CA Dr. Anjali Choksi. Coordinators for today's session and participants. Wish you all a very good evening and welcome to the 11th day of our FEMA series. Today we are starting with the second pillar of FEMA, that is ECB, for which again is divided into two sessions. The first section will be taken by our learned speaker, CA Dipendra Agrawal ji. He is based in Delhi, and he's come all the way from there to, like, now that we are on a virtual platform, we have the privilege of hearing him. With this introduction, like, I would like to request CA Kaushal Shah to introduce the speaker for today. Over to you, Kaushal.
Thank you, Manisha. Privileged to introduce to Mr. C.S. Dipendra Kumar Agrawal. He is FCA and he is very senior chartered accountant and partner at Dipendra Anil and Associate based at New Delhi. His vast experience of more than 15 years in the field of FEMA, international taxation, transfer pricing, domestic taxation, and NBFC. He is also certificate holder in international taxation. He has delivered several lectures at various platforms in India and overseas platforms. Also, he has delivered lectures at overseas on various topics. He is member of study group to formulate foreign contribution regulation bill and opportunities under FEMA of corporate and allied laws. He is participate program doing business abroad by IIM. All welcome to learned speaker to CA Dipender Kumar Agrawal, and floors to you, sir.
Oh, thank you. First of all, thank you very much for a nice deliberation, and I must appreciate you all are working very hard. Lot of lectures I heard from president of your branch, and today I am going to talk on external commercial borrowing, ECB. First of all, everybody has to understand, when you people are studying in class 11th, 12th, you must have read a chapter of source of finance, right? So in India, every company, every MNC has a desire, or a Indian company who does not want to share the board of directors seat, or the company who do not want to share the shareholders profit, they want to raise external commercial borrowing. ECB, what is ECB? Why we simply do not call it loan, So loan is a domestic word, and internationally we called is external commercial borrowing. External means outside India. Commercial means it is for some earning purpose. It is not a charity. And borrowings, that this amount has to be repaid back to the lender. Has to be repaid back to the lender. So the point over here that external commercial borrowing, who can take external commercial borrowing? The companies, only the private limited company or a limited companies who can raise FDI under the automatic route, in which 100% FDI is allowed. These companies are eligible borrowers. These companies are eligible borrowers. These company can take a loan. My dear friends, during this interaction, you will go through, navigate to the PPT. But I would like to do some, informal talk with everybody, and which will help in their practice or the learning. If Indian company wants to have a foreign capital, right? What are the ways to raise the foreign capital? Number one, the equity share capital. They can raise a equity share capital. They can raise a CCPS, compulsorily convertible preference share. They can raise a CCD, compulsorily convertible debentures. These three sources of finance are part of non-debt instrument rules. Is it clear, sir? ADR, GDR are also part of non-debt instrument rules. Startups can also raise security receipts one time, right? So they are part of the non-debt instrument rules. Now coming back, these are the portion which are covered by non-debt instrument rules. 2015 Finance Act has made several changes in FEMA. Now equity rules and regulations will be prepared or published by the central government in consultation with Reserve Bank. And debt instruments will be published by the Reserve Bank of India in consultation with central government. So on the debt side, Reserve Bank holds the upper hand, and on the capital side, central government holds the upper hand. Although these are theoretical things which I am discussing with you, but it is very important. Government of India is very keen to liberalize the ECB and the FDI also. Both they want to liberalize both the things, and somewhat ECB is by and large very much liberalized as on today's world. Now, for any company can receive the ECB if that company falls under the sector where 100% FDI is allowed under automatic route. ECB for LLP is not allowed. If we are discussing what are ECB. ECBs are commercial loans raised by eligible borrowers from non-resident entities for permitted end use prescribed by RBI, should conform to the parameters directed by RBI. ECB, we have discussed, is a source of finance. What are the common mistakes? Let's say a client approach you and says, sir, I want to raise a ECB. So how would you start? First, you will see the sector in which company is working. Okay. You see the company is working in a potato chips manufacturing sector, and they want to raise ECB to set up a plant machinery in India. Is a capital expenditure. ECB can be raised for 1 year minimum maturity period. Minimum. Maximum, it is your choice. You can keep whatever period you want to keep, but the minimum period would be 1 year. So my dear friends, the ECB by and large is very liberalized. Only 1 year. Minimum average maturity period is only 1 year. So, but the expenditure should be for manufacturing companies only, right? So in manufacturing companies, there are in this ECB, few terminology should be understood by everybody who is listening this lecture. There is one concept called minimum average maturity period. This minimum average maturity period, the Reserve Bank of India has given one Excel sheet. You can put your data, or either in our school days, we see the product, we used to make the product. Let's say 1 year average maturity period, if I say in a simplistic manner, is a bullet payment. If I have borrowed on 1st January and I paid a money on the next 1st January, next year 1st January, it's a 1 year, simple. Can I pay 50% after 6 months and balance 50% of next 6 months after end of the 1 year? Would it be called average maturity period 1 year? No, is it not? So whenever you talk about average maturity period, the Excel sheet has already been provided by Reserve Bank of India in some circulars also, or either I can share with you, in which you can put your loan and the installments. So average maturity period is by and large depend upon how you are making the installments. Then it is figure out. Now, my dear friends, the whole external commercial borrowings, rate of interest is very important thing. Okay, in this lecture, I would like to discuss only just 2-3 minutes, capital account convertibility and the current account convertibility. I'm sure some speaker must have thrown some light on it. The current account convertibility is India has accepted the World Bank norms, and all the exports and imports are freely, except very few reasonable restrictions are there. But capital account transactions are partially convertible. So ECB is a capital account transactions. Always very, very careful what is allowed, what is not allowed, and what are the compliances. If something you find that whether I fall under this or not, you should take Reserve Bank of India approval. Now, coming back to average maturity period, I have discussed with you, that is 1 year. Now, the whole ECB guidelines were based on a LIBOR, London Interbank Offering Rate. Now, yesterday, Reserve Bank has issued new circular. Somebody would like to, volunteer themselves, they can go to Reserve Bank of India website and download the APDIR circular. They will find that Reserve Bank of India has, changed their basis of interest rate from LIBOR to AAR. This development has been happened just less than 24 hours before. So I have changed my PPT according to that, and I have sent the revised PPT, and I tried to throw that circular because it's the latest circular. Yesterday it has been come out with by the Reserve Bank, and if somebody wants to learn, then he can download that circular, and if Mr. Kaushal would help me, then he can certainly download and run this circular. And on the there is a newspaper published, the Hindu Business. You can read this news also. I tell you the genesis or the principle behind that circular. There is a fraud has been committed in LIBOR determination, and Reserve Bank, there much talks about was going on that we should come out from the LIBOR hangover, because LIBOR is not, like a saint. So Reserve Bank of India yesterday has broken this chain, and yeah, thank you very much. This is today is 9th December, and I am making a presentation keeping in mind the yesterday development take place. It is very important development. If you see the 2I, redefining benchmark rate for foreign currency ECBs, and TC. TC is trade credits. Currently, the benchmark rate is defined in paragraph 1.5 of Master Direction as benchmark rate in case of foreign currency ECB trade credits refer to 6 months LIBOR rate of different currencies or any other 6 months interbank interest rate applicable to currency of borrowing like Euribor. Henceforth, the benchmark rate in case of foreign currency ECB and trade credits shall refer to any widely accepted interbank rate or alternative reference rate of 6 months applicable to the currency of borrowing. Change in all-in cost ceiling for ECB or trade credits to take into account differences in credit risk and term premia between LIBOR and alternative reference rate. The all-in cost ceiling for new foreign currency ECB and trade credits has been increased by 50 basis point to 500 basis point. I would like to take a pause over here. What it means? It means earlier the maximum all-in cost ceiling was benchmark rate plus 450 basis point spread was allowed, which you can pay. Now, Reserve Bank of India has increased the spread from 450 basis point to 500 basis point. Subject to you have to get rid of it from LIBOR to any other alternative reference rate. Is it clear to everybody? And in trade credit is 250 basis point what the spread. They have increased the spread from 250 to 300. Now third point, one-time adjustment in all-in cost ceiling for existing ECBs and trade credits to enable a smooth transition of existing ECB trade credits linked to LIBOR whose benchmark are changed to alternative reference rate. The all-in cost ceiling for such ECB and trade credits has been revised upward by 100 basis point to 550 basis point and 350 basis point. What exactly it means? Reserve Bank is offering, if you want to change your existing ECB, the spread, we are giving you more spread. Okay. If you want to borrow new ECB, then we are giving you more spread, but the benchmark rate will not be LIBOR. I hope everybody has understood, and so Reserve Bank is giving more freedom. Just you do not use LIBOR as a benchmark rate. Now I would request to the person who is helping me to come back to the PPT. Now we are again on the ECB, and I discuss this issue with you. Now come on the next slide. Thank you. Stay here. Now ECB. Try to understand the ECB. ECB, all parameters in ECB, when you are reading, who is the eligible lender, who is the eligible borrower, what is the minimum maturity period, what is the currency of borrowing, form of currency, and minimum maturity period, all-in cost ceiling, other cost. These aspects are very important aspects. And use, exchange rate, hedging provisions. So this ECB has a lot of things over here. If, let's say, your lender says you are a manufacturing company, you manufacture banana chips, and the overseas lender says, I will give you ECB only for 10 months. But the policy says minimum average maturity period should be 1 year. But overseas lender is not agreeing for 1 year. He is agreeing only for 10 months. What you should do? Should I leave the business as it is? No. I have an opportunity to file form ECB under the approval route to the banker, and banker will forward along with his recommendation to the Reserve Bank of India, 11th floor, Central Office, Fort, Mumbai, in which Reserve Bank of India will apply its brain. It will see the merit in the case. If Reserve Bank of India think that it would be good to approve, they will approve. If they don't find, then they will not approve. So what it means? It means if our case falls under the automatic route, if we tick all the boxes, then automatic route is there. If we do not tick any boxes, or then we have to choose to the approval route. I would like to share with you how practicalities develop in the ECB matter. First, as a professional, you should apply your brain and do brainstorming whether your client is eligible borrower. Answer is yes. Let's pursue. And all the terms and conditions stated in the notification, regulations, and master directions are completely fulfilled. Then you must prepare a loan agreement, then form ECB, and it must be signed by you and one chartered accountant by your client, and submit to the banker. Banker will analyze the case along with the loan agreement and the form ECB. If they found it is okay, then they will forward our case to the Reserve Bank of India for allotment of LRN. If Reserve Bank of India find that your form is correct, you are eligible borrower, and terms and condition falls under automatic route, they will issue LRN, loan registration number. Earlier in the old good days, they used to send the letter. Now Reserve Bank has discontinued to send the letter, loan registration letter. They will send the email to the bank. Let's say my client is J&K Bank. They will send loan registration number to the J&K Bank, and the J&K Bank will forward to you. After that, it is your duty to file form ECB2 returns every month of the 7th of the following month. If you do not submit your ECB2 return next month, then 5,000 rupees is late submission fees for submission of ECB2 returns by 30 days. If delay is more than 30 days, then the LSF would be 50,000 rupees. So the late submission fees in filing of ECB, form ECB, ECB2 returns are quite high. My request to each and every professional who wants to do ECB, that like in FDI you have to do only yearly compliances. Like you used to file FLA, foreign assets and liability returns, by the end of 15th July every year. But in the case of ECB, you have to file every month, 7th of the every month, the ECB2 return. ECB2 return must be signed by the company, and it must also be signed by a chartered accountant. Okay, till the tenure of ECB, this ECB2 return will continuously be filed. If your ECB return become late, banker will collect the ECB2 return late, but they will also correct the pay order or demand draft in the name of the Reserve Bank of India for late submission fees. It has been instructed by the Reserve Bank of India that any ECB form or ECB2 return if late, then you must collect along with the late submission fees. Up to this stage, any person has any question, you are free to ask. Hello? Hello?
Yeah. So what we can do is we can take the questions at the end.
Okay.
Because so like the flow of the session goes
So
on, and we'll.
Is my talk is clearly understood, or is is
Yes,
clear?
yes, it is.
Clear.
Yes, it is
Okay.
understood.
Understood.
So we've asked the participants to write whatever doubts they have in the chat box, and we'll take all the questions at the end.
Okay. So because in there is a problem in the Zoom lecture that you cannot see the eyes of the participant, whether they are understanding the
Yes.
topic or not.
Yes, yes.
So I little bit worried whether they are grappling this subject or not. I don't know. Okay. So can you give the next slide on this? Next slide. Slide number 6. My dear friends, please stay here. I would like to throw some light over Indian rupees. Government of India wants that Indian companies should have least foreign exchange risk. Okay. Can somebody in the group tell me what is the difference between ECB and the FDI with regard to foreign currency risk? In the chat box, anybody can write what is the difference between FDI and the ECB with reference to currency. is a quiz to everybody. Anybody would like to enlighten me? Okay, I didn't get an answer. So the ECB, right, Miss Veena has right. The ECB can be in INR. From Nikita Agrawal ji also, she's also right. So the ECB can be raised in foreign currency and can also be raised in INR. But FDI will always be in INR. So in FDI, there is no currency risk, because whenever Indian company will close its door or go into the liquidation, but it has to give the amount returned in INR. Indian companies not under foundation to calculate the money in foreign currency. But in ECB, if you have borrowed the money in foreign currency, then foreign currency risk is always traveling with you. If foreign currency risk, you can mitigate the foreign currency risk by taking the hedging instrument, and Reserve Bank highly recommend to take the hedging with you. And the banker also in a month or quarterly, I think they take your foreign exchange risk, hedging risk also positioning. So like I give you one example, let's say you are getting a ECB offer of 4 to 5%. Okay. But if you go to the hedging cost, that also costs you 5%. So the ECB rate costs 10% and the market borrowing is available at 12%. So the difference between two is only 2%. Okay. And sometimes the foreign lender also insist that you share the burden of the withholding tax. Although my today's lecture is focused on FEMA, but I would like to request each and every participant to note down the provision which I am going to discuss with them, 194 LC and 194 LD. They talks about if you borrow the money in ECB, then withholding tax rate under under the act is only 5%, and 206 AA read with the rule, I think 37 BA, that 206 AA will not be applicable on 194 LC and 194 LD. So what I am going to say that withholding tax rate is only 5% in the act itself. There is no need to go to the refer to the treaty. In treaty, you might get Mauritius 7.5%, Singapore 10%, but act itself a very low rate. Okay. So although it is not a part of my PPT, but as in the beginning of my presentation, I talked about that I will go by informal way. So you can, your client and your foreign lender can avail a opportunity of section 194 LC and 194 LD. Okay. Now, this is a currency in which you can borrow. Okay. And come to the next point. The forms of ECB, you can take bank loan. Like I'll give you an example. Let's say Axis Bank has a Hong Kong branch and you want to take ECB, the local branch in India can create a charge on the property, and somebody from the saying that interest rate in ECB. Okay, let's discuss later on. So loans including banks loan, fixed or floating rates on bonds, debentures, trade credits beyond 3 years, foreign currency convertible bonds, financial lease, FCEB, foreign currency exchangeable bonds. Come to the next slide. INR is more or less the same. Leave the slide number 8. Come to the 9 number slide. All entities eligible to receive FDI. Further, the following entities are also eligible to raise ECBs. My dear friends, the money comes into the company is called FDI, and which eligible to receive is only the automatic route. Is my opinion that only automatic route company can receive FDI under automatic route. The further, the following entities are also eligible to raise ECB port trust units in SEZ, SIDB, and Exim Bank of India. Comes to the next point. All entities eligible to raise foreign currency ECB and registered entities engage in microfinance activities which registered not for profit is a Section 8 companies. Move further. Recognized lender. My dear friends, anybody can become a recognized lender, but you have to be very careful. The lender country must be FATF compliant, resident of FATF, and IOSCO compliant country. Multilateral and regional financial institutions where India is a member country. Individuals who subscribe to bonds and debenture listed abroad. Individual if they are foreign equity holders. Foreign branch subsidiaries of Indian banks are permitted. You can go through, is a long list. You can skip this. Okay, coming, this is the most important thing. And manufacturing companies. Manufacturing companies eligible lender up to 50 million per financial year, 1 year. The first line, manufacturing companies eligible lender. My dear friends, whosoever is listening this lecture, it is a mind-boggling radical changes in FEMA to attract more and more MNCs into India to give the money to the their subsidiaries or the joint venture. 50 million per year under automatic route for 1 year if you are a manufacturing companies. As you all are aware, the maximum manufacturing is under automatic route except cigars and cigarettes. So if any of your client want to set up a company in India for any manufacturing, from metal to jewelry or any type of medicines, and if they are manufacturing, they can receive loan from the parent company. Now eligible borrower, foreign equity holder. If foreign company is your 25% equity holder, or foreign company is not your direct, is an indirect equity holder, then 51% shareholding must be there. And general corporate, if Indian company wants to use for general corporate purpose and repayment of rupee loan, then the minimum average maturity period should be 5 years. So my dear friends, try to understand the nuances between the two time. The government of India wants to, for capital expenditures, the minimum average maturity period is 1 year. For general corporate purpose means working capital, salaries, advertisements, routine expenditures, the average maturity period has been increased from 1 year to 5 years. If there is not a foreign equity holder, is other than any foreign equity holder, and wants to give loan for working capital purposes, then the tenure have been increased from 10 years, 5 to 10 years. So if you want to give onward lending, then 7 years, and lending for 10 years. So my point is over here to spending time over here, try to understand the government policies and to promote the more and more foreign companies to set up their manufacturing base in India. And what else they want? After 1 year, you can take back your money. So I don't think so that except the Western world where FEMA does not exist, in other part of the world, you will not find such kind of a huge liberalization. So it is better than FDI also. Okay. So coming to the next slide. Now, when I am going to start and somebody has helped me to share with me the new 8th December RBI circular, in which I have discussed with you 500 basis. This circular I have already discussed with you. So I think there is no need to discuss further this circular. Okay, so earlier the benchmark rate plus 450 basis point, but now the spread has been increased from by 50 basis point, now 500 basis point, and for existing companies it is 550 basis point. So all in cost there is no change. So move further. Other cost 2% over prepayment and penal interest. Okay, so let's see, and somebody can see the interest definition under the Income Tax Act, whether the penal interest would also be called interest, then 194 LC and LD could also be attracted. The exchange rate I have already discussed with you. The change of currency of foreign currency ECB into INR, ECB can be at the exchange rate prevailing on the date of the agreement for such change between the parties concerned, or at the exchange rate which is less than the rate prevailing on the date of the agreement if consented or by the ECB lender. Now coming to the end use. My dear friends, I would like to tell you what are the mistakes usually make by all the most of the people. They use the ECB proceeds not for the purpose which they have borrow, but for the other purposes. The real estate activities, my dear friends, in FDI, real estate business word is there, but in ECB there is no real estate business, there is a real estate activities. Okay, so there is a difference between real estate activities and real estate business. So whosoever is listening this lecture must go through real estate activities. Give me a minute, sir. Give me. Ha, Ashok ji. Hello. 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 So the end use, the real estate. Let me see if I have real estate activities given in this lecture or not, but I may go through it and try to compare the difference between the real estate activities definition in the ECB and real estate business definition under FDI. So my dear friends, please appreciate there is a difference between real estate activities, which is has a very large impact, and real estate business has a very narrow scale. So second is investment in capital market. You cannot borrow the money and think that I have a money with me, my project has got delayed, what should I do? Okay, I think the stock market is a good option. I should invest into the stock market. You borrow the ECB money and invest into the stock market. If you do so, it is a end use violation, and you have to apply for compounding, and Reserve Bank of India will impose compounding amount along with the other table metrics which they have given in the master direction. They will also take the undue gain which you have earned by misutilizing the ECB money. Equity investment, you cannot make equity investment. So working capital, I have already discussed with you. You can use general corporate purpose except in this repayment of rupee loan, which you can also do on lending done by the micro finance companies. Okay, come next to the negative list. Hedging, leave the hedging. Okay, leave this point. Change of currency of borrowing, you can change it, no problem. Come to the next important aspect. Okay, one thing, if you want to borrow the money from your existing equity shareholder. Then if you are borrowing up to 5 million, there is ratio will not be applied, but that equity ratio will apply if you are borrowing from your direct equity shareholder. Then that equity ratio should not exceed 7:1. Okay, move ahead. Have you ever heard about the deemed ECB? Can anybody write a chat whether they have heard the word deemed ECB? The word deemed ECB. Ms. Sheetal Sata has said that she has heard the word deemed ECB. My dear friends, allow me a water break. Just I take a glass of water. The deemed ECB means you have some liability, like you have imported the material, but you have not paid the money within 3 years. You have imported the services. You have any other liability which you have must paid within 6 months, or but this you keep carrying this money and 3 years have been crossed, then this money cannot be remitted abroad without the approval of Reserve Bank of India, and it has become deemed ECB, deemed external commercial borrowing. So in that scenario, deemed ECB, first we have to take Reserve Bank of India approval. If your import payments get delayed, within 6 months you have to make the payment of import, but banker has a power to condone the delay, and up to 3 years from the date of import they can make the payment. But if 3 years has been crossed, then AD Bank cannot remit the funds without the RBI approval. So after the RBI approval, that money can go abroad. That is called deemed ECB. Move further. ECB proceeds meant only for foreign currency expenditure can be parked abroad pending utilization. Till utilization can be invested in the following: deposit certificate, treasury bills, or deposit with foreign branch and subsidiaries of Indian. They give very less interest rate. You can go to the next slide. I'll tell you one practical aspect of my life, or when you borrow the ECB proceeds for foreign currency expenditure and you have not utilized, the banks from the abroad, they visit your country and visit your premises and say, you give it the funds, we will make portfolio. Don't give the funds of ECB to use the money for portfolio investment, either in India or abroad. It is a contravention of FEMA. Okay, move to the next slide. Loan registration number, I have already discussed with you. If there is any changes, then forms ECB must be filed within 7 days. 5,000 rupees, I have already told you. 50,000 rupees per year ECB, I have already told you. And if beyond 3 years, then 1 lakh per year. So LSF is, I have already told you. Okay, move next slide. The designated AD category can approve any request from the borrower for change. Change can be done, no problem. Change of the AD category, one bank subject to obtaining no objection certificate. You can change your existing banker. Cancellation of LRN, AD bank may direct approach DSM for. DSM is basically Department of Statistical Information Management. I think is like a name, is basically based in Mumbai. who allotted LRN. Okay, so that's the point. Refinancing of existing ECB. You can refinance the existing ECB by raising the fresh ECB, but the terms and condition of the fresh ECB must be better than the existing ECB. Move to the further. Conversion of ECB into equity. You can convert your ECB into equity. Reserve Bank would be very happy to do that. And your company must be under automatic route. If your company is under the approval route, then up to the limit you can convert. Lenders' consent should be there, and applicable pricing guidelines FCGPR should be filed. ECB2 return need not to be filed if fully amount has been converted. If partial amount has been converted, then for balance amount you have to file form ECB2 returns. That's it. Consent and exchange rate. The important aspect is the last bullet point. Exchange rate prevailing on the date of the agreement between the party concerned of such conversion or any lesser rate can be applied with a mutual agreement with the ECB lender. It may be noted that the fair value of the equity share to be issued shall be worked out with reference to the date of conversion only. Move to further. ECB facility for oil marketing companies, you can read out. This is a very big short work. I have never done this for me. So come to the next topic 26. This is the gem. ECB facility for startups. Eligibility, any entity recognized as a startup by the central government as on the date of issuing raising ECB So foreign branches, subsidiaries of Indian banks and overseas entity in which Indian entity has made overseas direct investment will not be considered as recognized lender in this framework. Come to the next slide, 26. Minimum average maturity period will be 3 years. Loans, non-convertible, option convertible, partial convertible, preference share currency, any freely convertible currency or in INR. In case of INR, non-resident lender should mobilize through swap, outright or undertaken. Come to the next slide. Amount borrowing per startup will be limited to USD 3 million or equivalent per financial year, either in INR or convertible foreign exchange, all in cost mutually agreed between the borrower and lender. You see, the tenure is only 3 years. Tenure is only 3 years. Amount $3 million, and all-in cost ceiling is agreed between borrower and the lender. And uses for any expenditure in connection with the business. So much flexibility for the startups is a huge. Conversion into equity. Conversion into equity is freely permitted, subject to regulations applicable for foreign startups, foreign investments in startups. Security. Security can be in the nature of movable, immovable, intangibles, or unsecured also. Comply with these are guarantee issued by a qualified non-resident lender is allowed. So these are the things. You can move further. Hedging. The overseas lender in case of INR denominated ECB will be eligible to hedge in INR. Is a foreign party can have a INR exposure. Okay, the lender can also assess the domestic market. Nothing new. So this is the okay. Come to the slide number 30. Conversion rate, other provisions. Equity ratio will not be applicable. Okay, now I take a pause over here and let's ask one by one question. What's time? 7 o'clock. Yeah. Ma'am, Mr. Kaushal Shah.
Yes, sir. Sir, you can go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm giving an opportunity to, because rest presentation I will do, but the main ECB, which is the heart of the topic today, I have covered, and I want that participants should ask me any question, whatever they have in their mind.
Okay, should we take the questions just now, or like is
No,
your
no, no,
presentation
no, no,
complete?
no, no. ECB question I want to address right now. ECB
Okay,
question.
okay,
Otherwise, I will move to the trade credit and the other aspect. Yes.
okay. I would like to request CA Hitesh Chandiramani to read out the questions in the chat box to sir. Over to you, Hitesh.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So the sir, the
You're
first
welcome.
question is from Ravindra Shevre. The question is, in case of deemed ECB, will there be a responsibility of monthly filing of ECB2?
No, 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 not at all. In deemed ECB, what happened? Let's say your company has imported a material on 1st January. Okay. And 6 months have been passed. 3 years have been passed and you have not made the payment. When you approach to the banker, sir, please make the payment. They will say 3 years have been passed. I will not make the payment. I have to take the approval from the Reserve Bank. When you apply to the Reserve Bank will say 3 years have already been passed. I will give you the approval, but I will treat it as a deemed ECB. Then what would happen? You pay the money, get the certificate from the banker that you have made the payment. Then you apply to the Reserve Bank. Reserve Bank will compound this offense. Okay, it's a compoundable offense, but treat it as a deemed ECB. ECB2 requirement or form ECB or LRN will not be applicable on this. Move ahead.
Okay. Then after the question is from Parag Mehta. The question is, what are the implications once the trade credit are considered as deemed ECBs? Does it have any negative impact on borrower?
Sir, there is no negative impact. The trade credit is for 3 years. Trade credit approved by the banker. So if trade credit become deemed ECB, then RBI will give approval and pay the compounding amount. That's all.
Okay, sir. The next question is from Dipti Taparia. The question is, the advance received for export services not executed for 3 years due to various reasons. Does this fall under deemed ECB?
We do not say it's a deemed ECB. In that case, we means RBI. Okay, let's presume I'm talking to you on behalf of RBI. RBI will ask you why you have not exported the material first. Okay, so you have to give me, the Reserve Bank, the reason why you have not exported, and why, what is, whether would you like to export now or would you like to refund the money. If you want to refund the money, they will treat that you have borrowed the money. So it may not be a deemed ECB, but compounding amount would be like the deemed ECB. My dear friends, I do a lot of compounding and I would like to share something with you which is not written anywhere. So if you take kept money with you and you are not eligible to keep the money with you and you are going to refund that money, okay, so Reserve Bank of India will impose upon you a cost. A cost would be, if a foreign currency could be 3.5% per annum, Reserve Bank of India will impose a cost like undue gain. So undue gain, if you are keeping the money with you, like the last question, Mr. Kaushal, you are asking, if you are receiving an export advance and you have not exported, so Reserve Bank of India will held you violation of the export guidelines, right? Is the exports guideline, and they will impose upon you the compounding cost upon you, and that would be equal to the loan amount. Give me a minute. Hello, Ashok ji. Hello.
Sir, you have muted yourself. Please unmute yourself.
Give me. Ma'am, I have no. Okay. So
Yeah.
this is clear. Move to the next question. Yes, ma'am. Please move to
Yeah.
the next question. Yeah.
Yes, sir. The next question is
Yes.
from Nikhil Vekaria. The question
Yeah.
is, hi, I have one. What should we check in ECB return while signing? Like, what are the requirements we need to ensure while signing the ECB return?
ECB2 returns, all the columns are there, right? You must have the ECB form which has been. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Sir.
Sir, please unmute yourself.
Okay. Yeah. Please tell me, sir. Yeah.
So the question is, what should we check in ECB return while signing? Like you have said that in the form all the details are prescribed, but is there any specific issue to ensure while signing the ECB return?
Sir, ECB2 return is basically focused on the data which you have submitted at the time of ECB form ECB and the end use of the funds. Okay. So ECB2 return, if you see that they talks about the interest payments, principal payments, and utilization. This all are based on the form which you have submitted at the time of fetching the LRN, and the development takes place after that. That's it.
Okay, sir. The next question is from Madhuri. The question is, will there be a defined method to arrive at AAR?
Sorry, repeat.
Will there be a defined method to arrive at AAR?
Okay, no, I yesterday, I have received this, and I was traveling. I'm in UAE right now. So I have to do some research, then I could be able to tell you more about AAR. But I'll share with your group. You can share with your participant. I promise to you. Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. The next question is from Nirav Jogani. The question is, if there is nil ECB2, that is no drawdown or no repayment, whether we have to again file form ECB for revision in MAMP?
Yes, sir. As long as to the tenure of the ECB, you have to file even for the nil return also.
Okay, sir. The next question is from Meena Jodwani. The question is, ECB can be raised only by manufacturing companies or any company?
Any company who can receive FDI under automatic route.
Okay. The next question is from Amit Khotari. The question is, where a foreign bank gives bank guarantee to Indian banker of Indian private limited company, and the same is, and against the same BG, the Indian banker gives loan to a company. Is it a deemed ECB?
Is a very intelligent question. Ask your friend to read structured financing. Structured financing. I'll give you. Let me see whether my PPT cover the same or not. Give me a minute. Oh, unfortunately, my PPT does not cover the same. Okay. Hold on. I would like to take only 5 minutes and clear everybody. It is called structured financing. My friend, the gentleman who is put the question in the group, he's saying that Indian company has received standby letter of credit from abroad, and on the standby letter of credit, the Indian bank has given the loan to the Indian company. Am I right? Now, whether this would qualify as a ECB? No, this will not qualify as a ECB. It is called structured financing. So it is allowed. It is allowed. Yeah. And if the gentleman wants to understand about the more, I would request, give me a second. Master direction number 5. Master direction number 5 on structured obligation. He must go through it. Structured obligation. Who has opened the RBI website for me? Can he again open the RBI website? Yeah, can you go into the notification? Can you again go to the notification? Yeah. Thank you. Go into the notification. Go to master direction. Go to master direction. Great. Go to foreign exchange management. Left side, left side, left side. Click on this. This external commercial borrowing. This one. No, in the center. In the center. First, must external commercial borrowing. Okay. Now scroll down. That is, see the topic, structured obligation. Your friend is asking a question regarding structured obligation. Scroll down. You will find a structured obligation over here. Scroll down. Scroll down. Move further. Should be part 3. Should be part 3. Yes, part 3. You go upside and click on the point number 19, non-resident guarantee for domestic fund base and non-fund base. Should I read for everybody or should I explain this and everybody could be happy? Everybody can understand.
So you can explain.
Yeah, everybody can read it. Explanation is better. So what happened? Indian company wants to borrow the funds. Okay. And the one way FDI. Okay. Second is ECB. Okay. The third one, the foreign lender says, I will not give you fund-based facility. I will give you non-fund-based facility. In the non-fund-based facility, they arrange a unconditional LC from foreign bank. Okay. And that is available to you. You can take that. This is not ECB at all. Okay. So borrowing, because you are borrowing in an Indian bank, from Indian bank in a Indian rupees locally. So this transaction FEMA doesn't apply. Okay. But if you defaulted, then foreign bank has to pay the money and the foreign person who is giving the SBLC would become your lender. That is the whole about it. Rest you can read about it from here. Okay. Come to the next question. Any other question more?
Yes, sir. 1 minute. So there is one question from Hirangi Desai. The question is 194 LC states 5% TDS rate for money borrowed in foreign currency. So for INR ECB, can we take that rate or we need to refer to DTAA?
Sir, but in my opinion, Indian currency should also be deemed to be a foreign currency for that purposes. That is my opinion. Because in Indian currency, the borrowing is also allowed. See what happened, when you borrow the loan in Indian currency, the lender has to purchase the foreign currency, Indian currency from the Indian branches of an Indian bank abroad. Okay. The money comes through the Vostro account. So it is as good as the foreign currency. Because in this INR, the share is used to issue. Am I right, sir? If you receive the money, even if you can receive INR against the payment of export. So
Correct.
Indian currency is getting acceptability, and you are receiving the money through Vostro account. Yeah. Move further.
Okay, sir. The next question is from Sheetal Sata. The question is, in case of wholly owned subsidiary also, will trade credit clause of 3 years will apply? Deemed ECB, I mean.
Yeah, it's for everybody. Yeah, it's for everybody.
The next question is from Amit Kothari. The question is, are there any compliances related to structured financing under FEMA?
No, there is no compliances, but terms are there. They can read out the terms, which I have just, you can share this para with your friend. They can read out the terms. Not,
Yes.
there is no return or forms as such. Okay.
Okay, sir. The next question is from Meena Jodwani. The question is, can corporate guarantee be provided to lender by the subsidiary of borrower?
Yeah.
Okay. Thereafter, the next question is from Parag Mehta. The question is, you said upon conversion of trade credit to deemed ECB, transaction is compounded. Is there any compounding fees prescribed? What will be the penalty?
Oh my God. Okay. Come to the RBI website again. Go back. Back. Go back. Scroll down. Stop. There is a compounding circular. Yes, open it. Scroll down. Scroll down. Scroll down. Down, go down. Down. Go down. Go down. See point number 4. Stop. Point number 4 in brown. All other contravention, including all contravention. So 50,000 rupees plus for first year 0.5%, 0.55%. This would be the compounding amount. Plus undue gain. They will charge you the undue gain also. More than 3 years, if you have capped it, they can also impose undue gain. So let's say you are paying in 4 years. So up to 3 years, fine. For 4 years, they may charge 50,000 plus 0.5% plus 3.5% of the loan amount. You can search the undue gain word, undue gain. In this circulars, you will find the word undue gain. So they charge the some amount for undue gain also. Clear? Move further. Any other question?
Sir, I think all the questions have been answered with respect to ECB. We can proceed further. There are no questions left.
So now I will not take further any more question on ECB. Okay. For me, this up to this stage, chapter is over. Now,
Yes,
coming to the trade credit framework. What is trade credit? Is it trade credit? Okay. So what is trade credit? Trade credit, come to the slide number 36 straight away. Trade credit refers to the credit extended by the overseas supplier, bank, financial institution, and other permitted recognized lenders. For maturity as prescribed in this framework, the import of capital, non-capital goods permitted depending upon the source of fund. Basically, trade credit, if you see, is only for the import of goods. Sometimes, let's say you are setting up a sugarcane factory and you are buying a machine, a very heavy duty machine from the GE, right? And GE said, why you pay me your money in 6 months? Okay. I'll give you financing. I have a G NBFC company abroad. Okay, they will give you the loan with a rate of interest of 3.5%. So you said, you think that why should not we take a car financing like in India also? If you go to the Maruti showroom, then Maruti has his own NBFC, Mahindra has his own NBFC, basically, right? So the supplier also has their own financing arrangement from bank and financial institution to promote their sales. So there are two type of things: capital goods and non-capital goods. My dear friends, can anybody tell me what is the definition of capital goods and what is the definition of non-capital goods? Can anybody tell me in the chat box? From where I will get the definition of capital goods and from where I can get the definition of non-capital goods? Is my question to everybody. No. Mr. Bhavik, not from GST. Anybody else? Anybody? No, no from income tax. Sorry, Veena ji. Anybody more? Do some brainstorming. FEMA, no. Sorry, Sheetal ji. Anybody? Custom, no. But going in a right direction, Deepa ji, but not custom. Anybody? RBI, no. Yes, Mr. Bhavik, foreign trade policy. The foreign trade policy has a definition of capital goods. They have given the HSN code and this, and from there you can find the definition of capital goods. Okay. Now, yeah, Narshaji, foreign trade policy. Sir, the trade credit refers to the credit extended by this. We have understood trade credit framework. Move to the next slide. Framework of trade credit moves to the slide number 37. Trade credit for import into India. Freely convertible foreign currency, Indian rupees, no problem. Come to the next slide, 38. Buyer's credit, supplier's credit, eligible borrower, person residing in India acting as importer, automatic amount under automatic for oil, gas refining up to 150 million and for others up to USD 50 million, right? Move to para number 4, slide number 39, recognized lender, buyer's credit, bank, financial institutions, foreign equity holders located outside India, foreign suppliers credit, supplier of goods located outside India. Move to slide number 40, capital goods 3 months to 1 year, non-capital goods up to 3 years. Give me a minute. For non-capital goods, the period shall be up to 1 year, or the operating cycle, which are for shipyards, shipbuilders, the period of trade credit import of non-capital goods could be up to 3 years. Okay. Now move to exchange rate. Okay, move further. Benchmark rate 300, which we have discussed in the beginning, that this, okay, hedging, follow the guidelines for the hedging. Move further, currency of currency is freely permittable. TC can be raised for purchase of non-capital and capital goods. Find further an entity in DTA. Security, you can offer some security. Bank guarantee can also, TC may be secured by the overseas guarantee issued by foreign. You can skip this. These are all our monthly reporting. Reporting done by the AD bank, not by you. Okay. Move further. From done, from here side, roll of ads, come scroll, come to 646. From my side, this is trade credit and ECB. If anybody has any question, then he is free to ask. Otherwise, RBI FAQs are given there. If somebody want to discuss the FAQs, it is the RBI FAQs. You can read it and you can find most of the question answers over here, cover here. Any question up to this stage? Ma'am?
I don't think there are any questions. So I guess we can go ahead.
Ma'am, actually, I would like to close early because I have not taken my sleep because of I am presently in Dubai and I am attending one international arbitration. So because I have committed to you my time, so I have completed my ECB, all the questions and presentation. These
Okay, so
all,
the presentation is over.
yeah, presentation.
Your session is over.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah, ma'am, I would like to, is 6 to 8, right? I have 30
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, ma'am, these are the FAQs given by the Reserve Bank of India. Okay.
Okay.
So, if you want, I can read out. I don't have any hesitation to read and discuss one by one question if you want. And if you permit me, then I can leave out and take my sleep. That's all. So if you want, I can, discuss one by one question. Would you be interested to do so? From my side, I have covered all the questions and trade, credit and ECB.
Okay, so there is one doubt.
Yeah.
Over to you, Hitesh.
Yes, sir. The question is there any INR ECB interest rate limit?
Interest rate limit is there. Yeah. Spread is already you have. Okay. And if in INR there is a for INR there is a limit also. Okay. For INR also there is a limit. Give me a minute. I'll give you. Benchmark rate, you can note down. Benchmark rate in case of rupee denominated ECB and TC will be prevailing yield of the Government of India securities of corresponding maturity. You understood my point? If you go into market and, on Google, you can ask if I want to buy a 5 years government security for 5 years, right? You will find a yield for 5 years. Am I right, sir? Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
sir.
Yeah. So 5-year yield you can find on the internet. So 1 year, 5 year, 10 years, 7 years you can do.
Okay.
Okay. So this is available, sir. This on the top of it, you can add 5% more, 5% more. Let's say this come out to be 7.77. Let's, for example, 7.77. Then the maximum rate is 7.77 plus 5. So rate would come out to be 12.77.
Okay, sir.
So there are some questions that have started coming in.
Yeah.
And I would like to request all the participants, if they have any doubts, please put them on the chat box so that we can discuss that also.
So then
I have no agitation to answer any question. And if you say, insist me, I can go to the RBI FAQs also. Please, there is no issue at all.
Yeah, so like if all the questions, if people put in the questions, because there are a few questions which are not answered, so we'll take those, and just in case there is time, then we can go through the FAQs.
Ma'am, I will welcome all the questions. Please take one by one.
Yes. So participants, please, friends, please put in all your doubts, whatever doubts you have, please put them on the chat box. And just in case you want to ask those doubts directly to sir, you can raise your hand. I shall unmute. We shall have you unmuted, and you can ask the doubt to sir directly. So over to you, Hitesh.
Yeah. So the next question is from Deepak Shetty. The question is rollover of trade credit beyond 3 years not allowed.
Yes. Rollover is not allowed.
Okay. The next question is from Kishore Gujar. The question is there any common platform for raising the ECBs by startups like e-trades, etc.?
Sir, I am a legal person. I do not go into the raising and everything. Ask me a law. Don't ask me. I earned a lot of money, so I kept with my chest. No, so I don't go to these platforms. Yeah.
So the question is from Sheetal Sata. The question is, can SME raise ECB for working capital?
Sheetal Shah, there is no word called SME in my presentation, right? I have categorically pointed out the companies which can borrow the FDI under automatic route, okay, or startups. So you figure out whether your SME is a startup, then rules are different. And if your company is, your SME is not a startup, is a private limited company, can that company act, can receive 100% FDI? If yes, then you can raise ECB also.
So any
Next question is from Hirangi Desai. The question is, in case of closure of a company, can repayment of ECB be done before average maturity period?
With the approval of RBI.
With approval of RBI.
Every person who is listening this presentation, take these golden words. If you are in a position, or if you have been forced to be in a position which do not familiar with the government policies, with the Reserve Bank policy, you know, the recent question has been put in the chat box is that if company is going to close, you know, company is going into the NCLT for liquidation, default, and the loan period is 7 years and 7 years has not been completed yet, what should I do? So in that situation, you should go to the Reserve Bank of India for prior approval. Loan is a capital account transaction. Capital account transaction is allowed only and only when it is written in a black and white. If something is not suits in your condition, please seek special approval, prior approval, specific approval from Reserve Bank of India.
So there is one general question. The question is, what is the general turnaround time of RBI for asking for any questions asked to them? Like, can we go directly or through AD Bank only?
Through AD Bank only. RBI is not supposed to answer you any question. You have to put your question to the AD Bank. AD Bank has a mechanism to put the question to Reserve Bank, and Reserve Bank will answer your question.
Okay, sir. So I think there are not much questions left, so we can proceed. Like
how much time you have left? 23 minutes?
no, so it's not necessary, like, you know, just to complete the time, but you know, we could cover those FAQs which are not overridden by any notification or regulation or so.
Ma'am, what I can do, you open my PPT and start one by one FAQ. Okay.
Okay.
I tried my level best to deal with. Whatever I will speak, it will benefit every listener. You need not to worry at all.
Okay, because like, you know, there are certain FAQs which are overridden by the regulations or, you know, the notifications or so.
Ma'am, I tell you one thing, FAQs are not the law. And
yeah, exactly. But there are times when the RBI has always taken, you know, the FAQs also. There are times, certain times. So like, you know,
I'll tell you, whatever you are saying is perfectly all right. And whatever RBI is saying, we have to take things seriously. But if FAQs and notification are contradictory, then notification will prevail.
Will always prevail.
Yes.
Okay. So it's not a question of timing or something. We can, in case like you're through with it, we can wind up for the day. So thank you very much for a wonderful session.
Yeah.
You've given us a good grounding on ECB. So it was really nice. I would now like to request CA Hitesh Ramani to propose a formal vote of thanks.
Yes, sir.
Over to you, Hitesh.
Yeah. Sir, on behalf of Ahmedabad branch of WRC of ICI and all the participants, I would like to thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. I'm damn sure that all the participants are benefited from your knowledge, and we look forward to hear from you in person once this COVID period is over. And so we are extremely happy that you have shared your practical experiences with us, because in this time, practical experience, it takes a lot of time and dedication for sharing the practical experiences with the people. And I thank all the participants for sparing time with us. I hope that all the participants' queries have been answered and have upgraded the knowledge after today's session. So, sir, thank you all once again for being such a polite audience. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you once again.
And my apology, I'm closing 20 minutes, it's 7:40, I think, in India time. So,
No, sir, it's absolutely fine. So it is always quality that is more important than quantity.
Yeah. Actually,
What
ma'am,
you got,
yeah. So one
so what
international
you got in
arbitration-
this time is good.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you very much,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. It was very interactive session.
Thank you.